Sunday morning in the Austrian Tyrol, and we are ready for the final day of racing in the 2020-21 BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup. Good morning, everybody, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us at whatever ungodly hour of the day or night it might be. Martin Haven and John Morgan getting ready for the big dogs. Four-man action. And John, this track is going to be just as challenging for the big sleds as it was for the small ones.
Well, Martin, good morning or good afternoon to you. The track, it was built for the 76 Olympic Games. The first artificially cooled track used for both bob and luge, and now skeleton. It's very easy to get down, but four-man bobsled, you got to be settled before that first curve. Can't be going around here with any kind of movement in the team. Curve 3. Again, this is so quiet up top of this track. There's just no mistakes allowed. The track almost lulls you to sleep. Hopes that you make a mistake up here. Again, no real challenges like we saw last week in Koenigsegg. And now the Kreisel, which is sort of where you start to speed up. You exit to curve 8. Curve 9, this is the pivotal part of the track. The exit here will really give you a chance. Up high in the big sweeping left, curve 10. Three-corner combination, the labyrinth. It can get pretty dicey in here with these big four-mans. Not a surprise that Friedrich has the record. He's probably got the track record on every track he's ever been on.
Got to be pretty close to that, hasn't he? And Francesco Friedrich with the downtime record. That's from 2019, 2 seasons ago, but the start record dates back 8 years to 2013. Friedrich is our World Cup points leader from Benny Meyer and Justin Cripps. This is the fourth and final four-man race of the season. There's no four-man pre-Christmas because of COVID restrictions. So we've had 25 sleds already starting a four-man race in the 3 so far. We started in Winterberg, went to St. Moritz and Koenigsegg last week. And of course, this is the final race before we head to the World Championships. The final weekend will be four-man weekend. Next weekend in Altenburg, it'll be two-man. And after a bit of a clear day yesterday, once more cloud overhead here, a little bit of snow in the air. And that shouldn't affect these sleds much, but it won't be track record pace. Canadians there chatting with Hansi Lochner, and everybody doing their best to warm up in these slightly snowy conditions. One little change to our running order, and there's been a brakeman swapped out, but other than that, everybody we believe is good to go. Yun Jong Won, the Olympic silver medalist, will go off first ahead of Lamendine, Ivo de Bruin and Justin Cripps. Cripps gets a nice early draw. And with Friedrich going off 6th, Hansi Lochner 12th, there'll be a little bit of difference between them. They were our top 2 medalists in the race here last year. Hunter Church took the bronze, the first US medal since Steve Holcomb took a silver medal, bronze medal rather, in 2017. An emotional day for Hunter. Fourth and final race of the BMW IBSF four-man bobsleigh World Cup. Yun Jong Won with Kim Jin-soo, Lee Kyung-min and Jung Hyun-woo behind him. Woo in only his second four-man race. He's on the back today. He was at 3 last week.
Well, there's our start. The first people down, 5:15, Martin. That's well off the start record that Melbardis put down of a 4:93 8 years ago. We aren't going to see any start records today. And the four-mans, well, you know, they're not going to bounce around like the monobobs and the two-mans we saw yesterday, Martin. But I'd like to talk about the experience of the crews, Martin. You mentioned this guy. They have one guy here. It's only his 2nd or 3rd World Cup. On this track, you've got to have an experienced crew because the start means so much.
Across the line, 51.36, so that is what we're looking at as a relative benchmark. 50.4 is the track record, so we're a second away from that. Best result here for Won, 7th in his last race, which was January last season, and his best four-man World Cup race, a 5th place in Lake Placid back in 2016. Of course, his glory day Pyeongchang 2018, taking that Olympic silver medal on his home games. Can't be many drivers that'll get a chance to do that.
Martin, on the Olympic channel last night at 5 o'clock in America, 5:30, they replayed the luge at 5, and then at 5:30, the bobsled from Pyeongchang. And to watch that again, that was such an exciting moment in the sport. Great energy.
Next up, Lamindina, Great Britain, 51st four-man start for him. He was 10th here last year. He's had 6 World Cup races here. Ben Simons, Joel Fearon and James De Solo behind him. Semtex has done 40 World Cup starts. This is his 40th. For Joel Fearon, a 41st, but only a 40th in a British sled. He did 1 four-man last year for Switzerland. And for James De Solo, it is World Cup start number 3. He's the man on the back handles. So it's pretty misty for the drivers. There is enough visibility. Don't need the cloud to come down any lower.
Yeah, there's not a lot of challenge coming down this track, even in the fog, Martin. Even in my day, I can remember coming down this track with the severe fog. 200s back from the Koreans on the start. I mean, the velocity, look at that. They had the best velocity. So they were 200s down, but of course they got two of the fastest guys in Great Britain are on this sled. So they should have good velocity getting into this four-man cocoon.
Well, he had 1 kilometer. He had 1 kilometer over the Korean sled after the first 50 meters. So he's got better speed than 1 all the way down so far. Long skid out of 9.
Yeah, that 700s, he should start going away, but that skid's going to cost him. It does to 12. And Lamin's going to be about 20 hundredths down here, probably. 16. You know, 16 in four-man, it's so close on this track. If Friedrich wins by 50 hundredths again today, I'll be very surprised, Martin. Him winning by over a half second last night in 2 heats on this track is ridiculous.
Yeah, he is in a fantastic form at the moment. There's big James De Solo on the back,
slip. Look at that. Look at that slip, yeah. That could have been...
Well spotted in the truck.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Look at the big sled. Oh, you can see the runners curving. He's in a skid. It's tough to get these four-mans in a skid, but when they get in a skid, they got a mind of their own. Lamin crashed in that spot in the World Championships here at 15.
Next up, Ivo de Bruin for the Netherlands with Joost Duma, Dennis Venke and Janko Francic.
Well, there's some inexperience on this crew too, Martin, right? There's which guys only got a few starts?
Not so much, not so much. Joost has done, this is his 17th four-man, Dennis Venke his 30th, even Janko on the back, his 21st four-man start. In fact, Francic has done all, I think, but 1 race this season with Ivo. He was stood down for 1 two-man race.
So Ivo lost a lot of time up top. Look at the rudder tips, the check, get himself in control. You see a little bit down at the start, but whoa, that was close. Yeah. Boy, I'm sure they'll show us that. That almost got away from him.
Janko was out of the seat there, wasn't he? I'm sure when you're a brake man and you feel your backside, when you feel your backside leaving the sled, I'm sure that's when you think, oh, we're in trouble.
Okay, this is the 8-9 combination. Gets a little high there in 9, comes down, gonna go back up and probably be late here in the exit. Look at the runners. That's almost like a Robin Hood there. And then he's got the skid. Now watch him check the runners here. Click back and forth to try and get out of this skid. That's common practice in a four-man. But right here, look at this. Look at the number 3 guy back there.
Look at him.
Right out of the sled.
Oh,
man.
Ooh,
and again, dealing with aerodynamics. What did that cost him with that head popping up like that?
Well, never mind that. He's carving ice like an ice skater. Justin Cripps of Canada, 67th four-man World Cup start as a driver, with Ryan Summers, Cam Stones and Ben Coakwell on the sled again.
By 12. This is a very experienced crew here, Martin. Probably the most experienced of anybody who's been down yet. And 1100's up. Well, you know, Cripps, silver medal 2 years ago on this track. 14, so it's 1500's advantage. 1500's advantage. Well, last year he had to sit in the sled, Martin. Remember, he was injured.
Yeah.
And so
Nobody's coming.
Keeper Mattis had his.
Yeah. Oh, yes, he did, didn't he?
Both
yeah.
Keeper Mattis, Keeper Mattis sat in the sled, and also Justin Cripps that paved the way for Hunter Church to win a medal, because both those guys were back of the pack. They were injured, just getting points. 51-18, they're excited, they should be.
Yeah, everybody's struggling here with the exit of corner 9. This is the exit of the Kreisel.
Exit. This is where you set yourself up for 9 right there. Four-mans go so much straighter than the two-mans, but nobody's figured this out yet. Cripps wasn't bad, but there's a double skid there. But he still flew on the bottom. You know, he lost a little bit back in the Kreisel. Look at the... Oh, man. It's a...
Oh, boy.
Justin,
oh, boy.
Remember, this track was built in '75. You know, it wasn't built for these speeds.
No,
for those,
you know,
that crossover, those three-corner labyrinths, you know, again, we're not going to see any track records here, but I don't know if these sleds and athletes are fitting into this track the way they, did 40 years ago.
Next up, Rostislav Gajtukovic of Russia, bronze medalist yesterday. He's been 4th, 6th and 9th in this four-man season, but has not raced four-man on this track before.
Good load. Best start by a statement. Whoa. Second best velocity, though. The British had the best velocity, but they have 2 world-class sprinters giving him that velocity. Only 800s up, Martin. That's not a good sign. He should have, with that start, he should have been up about 12 or 15. He's probably going to come back. 9, he's second best speed. But when you have that good of a start up in this track, you should really get to double digits. Much better exit than anybody else has had so far for this young Russian, but he's red numbers. Maybe too much steering. But again, doesn't have the results in four-man that he does in the two-man. He's 500s off the pace. Martin, is that Victoria Tokovaya that was just in that shot at the coach's box?
She's been here
coach's
all week.
Box. Long time, 20 plus years in the sport. Nice to see Victoria.
Yeah.
He had a 700s better start, got beat by 500s at the bottom. Not much fault with these lines, Martin, but maybe he steered too much, because this is perfect. And the perfect ride isn't the fastest ride, but those lines, that's the best lines.
Well, again, he hasn't got so much experience on this track. They may just have given him slightly narrower runners for control to make sure they get down in one piece with the World Championships coming up. Don't want him wrecking here, do you? Cripps, Gajtukovic and Won, the leaders. 5 sleds down in the first of our 2 heats. And we get to Francesco Friedrich. 3 wins in four-man so far this season. This is his 64th World Cup in four-man and almost tags the wall.
Oh, but of course the best speed, the best velocity. He's got such a better start than everybody else. He'll be 20 hundredths ahead at this next clock. 29 hundredths ahead. That'll get Martin, he might win by half second again. He's going to be out to 40 hundredths here. 32 only, but he's going to get this out to 3/4 tenths. Ooh, a little bit of a skid there. fact, he's losing a little back, Martin.
Yeah.
This is where he made his mistake in the World Championships in 2015. He was the last guy down, couldn't hold the lead, lost the World Championships to Melbardis. Not too many times you can talk about Francisco Friedrich not doing something right, and Martin, he came back to the field after that huge advantage up top.
Yeah. Well, he will tidy that up for the second heat. Torsten Margis steps out.
So
Candy Bauer at 2, Alex Schuller at Candy Bauer at 3, Alex Schuller at 4. The regular 4-man crew.
But still, Martin, he's 2,300ths ahead of Cripps. And he's not going to win by a half second today. It looked like it. Look at the load here. Now watch the sled drift on us. Look at that. Yeah. Ooh, they might have gone too far. They should have been settled before you got to that split joint there. Look at the rudder tips. You can see him steering there, and the back end's got a skid. Even the best guy in the world's having an issue with the exit of 9.
There's big Torsten. Candy Bauer and Alex Schuller wrangling the sled. And next up, Dominik Dvorak of the Czech Republic. Super day yesterday for him. Finished off the podium in 4th place, but Crystal Globe, 3rd in the World Cup points, the first time ever for a Czech Republic bobsledder. It's his 30th 4-man race. He was 9th in Winterberg, 13th in St. Moritz, 12th in Königssee. Super experienced crew here, except for the brakeman. Jakim Prochazka makes his World Cup debut. He's had 5 bobsleigh races before today in total. Oh! And Jan Sindelar does not get in.
So we have a little fire drill at the start. Let me reach out here to say congratulations to the Czech bobsled program. All the years of the sport. Go back to the 90s, Jiri Jamura, Pavel Puskar. Those guys were always on the edge of winning medals. And Ivo Dalatovic, he won that European Championships 2008 in Cortina, which is the best victory ever by the Czechs. But yesterday, for him to receive the Globe, congratulations to the Czech program. They've been in the sport forever.
He was super excited, wasn't he? Started out as a brakeman for Jan Verber. Has become quite the driver. Good looking run, 5th at the start, but 7th at the bottom. Quite have the speed he needed. I wonder what the weather forecast was. You know, yesterday was pretty clear and sunny, good conditions. Today, very foggy. Maybe the track's a little more humid than they were expecting, so runner choices may not be spot on.
Well, there's issues were at the start. This is, look at the left side of your screen. That foot's not in there.
He's got to get his
leg
over the push bar now.
Now that,
so
let me tell you something. That's an athletic achievement right there. To get in that little bathtub with his feet. Now, Martin, his feet are on his back. Let's see how scraped up the back of the number 2 guy is.
Yeah, that's
He'll have a little few marks there to look at. Yeah.
Mind you, it's his 63rd 4-man World Cup start, Dominik, so he's probably had a couple of those before. Next up, Austria's Benny Meyer with Sasha Stepan at 2, Marcus Sammer at 3, Christian Huber back on the brakes at 4. This is Benny's 39th World Cup start in 4-man, Marcus Sammer's 46th.
Well, he told you that he didn't expect to do well in the 2-man. It's just the track was too bumpy for his setup. But he said 4-man will be a different story. And Martin, what a great season this Austrian has had. Only 600ths back. Friedrich wasn't perfect from below the Kreisel. 800ths, he's losing a little bit at each clock, but this is good enough for so far for 2nd. Let's see what kind of speed he's got here. 1200ths back. Solid 2nd.
Yeah,
1700.
A very solid 2nd.
Boy, I tell you, the fastest sled down on the bottom was Cripps, because he was 1000ths down at the start to Meyer and only lost by 6 at the bottom. So I think Cripps will be in that medal hunt in the second run. I think we're going to see Lochner and one other German sled.
Yeah,
Can't
Cripps
fault
is
much of this,
Cup
Martin.
Standings.
Yeah, look at this exit of the curve. No Robin Hood, nothing. Look at the aerodynamic profile.
Hi, everybody.
Pretty good.
Redemption.
Yeah. Yeah, Benny, he's had such a strong four-man season. Third, second, and second in the 3 races. Roman Heinrich here for France. 8th in Winterberg, 12th in St. 17th in Koenigsegg. Really went away from him. He's got Dorian Hauteville at 2, Lionel Lefebvre at 3, and Steven Borges Mondelaka at 4. 20th four-man World Cup start as a driver for the Frenchman. He was 8th yesterday in the 2-man, which will give him a lot of encouragement for the big sled.
It was also his birthday yesterday, so that was a nice present for him. Start, well, 7th best start, 5:17. That's, with a good drive, he could get 6th or 7th, but he's 5,300ths back now, so
wow.
Put the sutures on, no more bleeding allowed, to 60/100ths, maybe 63, drifting more into the, he's 9th or 10th. He doesn't find a way to get some speed down. Ooh, boy, that was some heavy friction on the exit of 9. Now he's stable, but 7th, 9th, 8th maybe, 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, 500s ahead
Well,
of
you know, he had
Dvorak.
And Dvorak had all sorts of problems at the start.
He was 18th here last year in January, and right now he is 8th of 9 sleds.
Yeah, he's going to be about 18th again, Martin, when this is all said and done. You see that big spray come up on the exit of there, and a lot of friction on the exit. Came pretty straight after that. This is down where you get into the wild zone of this track, the 3/4 combination, 11, 12, 13. 11 to 12 is ambitious.
First of our 2 Latvian sleds in the field today is Oskars Melbardis, 55th World Cup start for him. Last World Cup here for the Latvian was December 2017. He kind of retired after the games, hurt, and after surgery has come back again. He was 4th then. He's had 3 wins here and the World Championship gold in 2016.
He won 4 straight years, Martin.
Yeah.
16, 17,
well,
the Worlds in 16, 14, 15, and 13, 14. Wow.
And the first of those was when they set the start record.
Which is 2/10 behind his record, Martin.
Yeah.
2,200ths off his record, or 15, 2,200ths off his track record. Wow.
That's what 8 years
like
and several back injuries will do to you, I think.
Well, I'm not saying that's all him, but those monsters that he had on the sled back in 13. But of course, he won the World Championships on this track, Latvian's first ever. The Olympic gold medalist from 14. You know, he's the twilight of his career. Sandus, I can tell what Sandus Prusus thinks of all that. But you know, he's won more Olympics, but this guy's been sliding for 20 years. The biggest, fastest man I have ever seen in the sport. In his day, that is a huge unit right there.
Yeah, him and Dalmans Dreskins. What a pairing in a 2-man sled.
Didn't drive. Yeah, Dreskins didn't drive. Melbardis was all those years in the back seat, and he got up to the front, and boy, the Latvians, happy he did. That medal ceremony in Latvia, you were there last year. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
It was spectacular when they got their gold medals, but needless to say, there's a legend in the sport in the twilight of his career.
Well, 10 sleds down and 12 to go in the first of our 2 heats. 2 will not make it through into the second heat, so we'll have to see who those are. This might possibly be a candidate on his form so far this year. He didn't make just made the cut in the 2-man race. Alexei Zaitsev behind him at 2, Vasily Kondratenko at 3, Roman Koshelev at 4. It's a very experienced crew. Stilnev starting World Cup number 44 in 4-man, and he's had 3 top 10 results this year, so he can't let it slip now.
Martin, he's 7th, 10th, and 10th. He's much better in the big sled than the little sports car. Yesterday, he just doesn't get the same start times. Here, Martin, this is the 4th best start, so
yep.
He could eke up into the top 6 with any kind of a drive down this ice canal. Nice. Boy, he's lost all sorts of time, though. The track said no more good times.
Could be. We'll have to wait. There's a couple more German sleds coming, see what they make of it.
Top 6? Yeah. Top 6, maybe. Yeah,
tied with Lamendine.
Right in the hunt, tied.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he'll get Lamendine in the second run because Lamendine went 2nd. He went 11th. And,
yeah.
I'll bet on Stilnev getting ahead of him. You know, the 4th best start. He's still behind his teammate, though, by a lot. Half, 29 hundredths. Lost a lot of time up top, Martin. Don't know why. Look at the runners. Wow, he was steering hard. The runner was airborne. Plus, you can see everybody. Look. Shouldn't be seeing those helmets back there, Martin. A lot of bouncing around. Give them a B- on the aerodynamics.
Yeah, wind tunnel engineers be holding their heads in their hands. Well, here's the first of our 2 remaining German sleds. Johannes Lochner, silver medalist here last year. Florian Bauer, Christopher Weber, Christian Rasp, his regular A-team in the 4-man. 36th 4-man start for Hansi, and Christian Rasp has been on the back for all but 3 of those races.
Number 2, perfect way that they set up, but nowhere near the start their teammate gets. Very competitive, 5:08. That works. But Johannes won, did he? No, he never won here, did he?
Yes, no, he hasn't won here in 4-man. Oh, no, yeah, he did. Yeah, European champion, that's right.
Yep. 2300's back, hanging in there for a top 3 podium, as we would expect. Now he slipped on to 4th. Had a not a very good second run yesterday. Fell off the podium with he fell asleep up there between curves 6 and 7. That cost him a medal. 3700's back 5th, but he's right there, Martin. He's 1400's behind Cripps. Cripps is looking good here.
Yeah. Well, Lochner has only had 1 medal so far this season, 3rd last week in Koenigsee, his home track. But he's converted he's been driving a Valna sled. Last week he was in an FES 4-man. Looks like he's back in a Valna again.
Look at the great cohesion, the arms coming up, little poetry on ice. Perfect. Yeah. Give him an A+ for the load. What happened up here? There's a drift. There could be a little problem on the 6 to 7 into the Kreisel. And then pretty hard to fault anything there. Let's watch for the aerodynamic profile here of the athletes. Johannes?
Yeah.
Not happy.
Having the 4-man season that he was hoping for, that's for sure. Been having a better year in the 2-man.
Somewhere really coming
in the mist are some gorillas, yeah. This is Christoph Harfer with Michael Salzer in his 2nd ever World Cup start. Kevin Corona and Philip Verbeto, and Salzer at 2. His only previous World Cup start, December 2019 in Lake Placid with Christoph Harfer.
I'm sure somebody's going to say, well, the fog coming in, this is definitely a viewing problem for the driver. It's not, our camera's a little far away. We see more fog than what the drivers are seeing. Plus, this is, if it was Altenburg, Lake Placid, Whistler, you might think of there's some visibility issues, but not on this track. They can almost come down here
nowhere, nowhere you're looking 100 meters like our camera is there. So you're looking 5 or 10 meters, and that makes it much more survivable.
If you're looking way beyond what's in front of you anyways, that's the secret to the success of a bobsleigh driver. 9th.
51.53, 100th behind Stillnev and Dean. Christoph Harfer in
the track's gone, Martin.
It has a bit,
hit with that
hasn't it?
7th place start. Yeah, the 7th place start, he should have challenged. He should be ahead of Lamadine. He's 100th behind. There's 3 sleds there tied. So he'll do better in the second run. The track not holding up. Look at the runners. Yeah, there's some steering there, and there's some back end skidding. Aerodynamics, A-.
Harfer's 6th four-man start. Patrick Baumgartner next up, 14th of our 22 sleds. The 26-year-old has Eric Fantazzini, Mattia Variola, and Alex Pagnini behind him. Variola at 3. It's his first four-man World Cup start since Altenburg in January 2018. That's a long while not to be loading into a four-man sled. That's nearly 3 seasons.
14th best start, Martin, and he's the 14th guy down the track. So, me and my start times thing, especially on this track.
Yeah, this track, as much as anywhere else, definitely. Baumgartner might be one of those struggling to make the cut.
Right.
10th, 17th and 14th so far this year, though. He's had a better season in the four-man than in the two.
Well, with that 14th start, he's been 14th all the way down the track. Skidded himself onto the take-on to 10. And he's going to be hanging in 14th out of 14 and could be on the bubble. 97.
Didn't make the cut yesterday in the two-man.
Looks on. Hey, his teammate did pretty good yesterday in the two-man.
Yeah.
They always are up there, Mark.
Yeah. And I'm not sure what's going on with that. Yeah, Mattia Variola at 3. Like I said, he hasn't pushed a four-man sled for 3 years. That's because he's a driver now. So they've obviously got a little bit of an injury crisis going on. They've got Variola back in braking.
Yeah, again, he had 6th or 7th best start times yesterday. That impressed me for that young Italian.
Yeah.
He beat Baumgartner convincingly yesterday, which, the race within a race, you always want to beat your teammate. The Italian, Italy #1, but,
steps up the next day and pushes the sled. So there's some good team spirit going on there.
Well, I mean, that's what you do. They're all Carbonari, they're all the Italian, so it's not like you have choices.
Next up, Chris Spring, 51st four-man start. Last World Cup here, December 2017. Finished 11th yesterday in the two-man.
20 back on the start for the sprinter. 11th best start. Boy, watch how much time he's down here just to, where the speeds are so slow, half second down. The start here is, big skid out of 6. That's hard to do. Good speed though by Chris. Started off the 11th best start, 12th. He's dealing with track conditions that are not ideal.
Yeah.
Carves himself through the labyrinths pretty well, but looks like 12th. 8/10 back. 1000s from 11. But he went late, Martin. I mean, Ivo de Bruin, 1000s in front of him, went third. He could catch Ivo de Bruin.
New crew here that he's been bringing on since last season. Mike Evelyn, Mark Malacca, their third World Cup starts, each of them. Chris Patrician on the back handles, his second World Cup start.
Yeah, so probably one of the least experienced crews in the business, but it wasn't the crew that caused that skid between 6 and the Kreisel. Look at those runners carving up some ice there. Skid here in the 2.
3 seasons since he's raced here in Innsbruck, so it takes a while to come back. The Spring currently lies in 12th place after 15 sleds. It's Friedrich, Meyer and Cripps the top of the pile. 7 sleds remain, 5 places in the race. Challenge here for Cody Bascu, whose last race was in January 2019. Blaine McConnell, Carlo Valdez, Carl Wilcox, experienced crew, especially Valdez. Raced here to medals with Stephen Holcomb. But these guys, 11th place in December 17, Cody's best race here. They need some big speed on a track that is slowing rapidly.
8th best start, so it's better than most. The experienced team, Blaine McConnell and Kyle Wilcox, they came after Bayon Chung. They were both recruited. Carlo is a 2018 Olympian, retired after the games and then came back this year. Cody's 9th, but considering the track conditions, hanging in there, 14th best speed is not going to help his efforts. Pretty good exit. 10th.
Good run so far.
This looks like 11 or 12.
Yeah, speed is sagging
70-hundreds. Yeah, 70-hundreds would be great.
Yeah.
72, 12, but he's close. Martin, he's sleds right in front of him. Ivo de Bruin by 200s, but again, Ivo went third.
Yeah, he's in. Dvorak 15th and Baumgartner 16th are the guys on the bubble. Dvorak. Mind you, they only had the 11th best start with that start mishap, and that would have cost them plenty of speed early on.
Look at the cowling split there. Look at that. When that cowling splits like that, all the air runs in there. So that just caught my attention. So there was the steer as he coming off 9. Good high line in 10. And he taps before the Omega finish line.
We need to get the sled out of the way because Mihai Tenter of Romania will be sent off in a moment. He's got Raul Dobre, Ciprian Daroxi and Christian Radu behind him. 3 young guys, 24, 22, 24. Mihai, 22 years old. Never raced in the World Cup here. He was 12th in Winterberg, 18th in St. Moritz. Missed Koenigsegg. He was racing in the Junior Worlds, finished in 6th place there.
Well, the 15th best start. It's about where he does. You talk about his driving prowess. He's a good driver, but you know, when you don't have the same fuel at the top of the track as the other teams, it's pretty hard to match the speed down below, and especially on this track. So he had the 15th best start. He's got the 11th best speed. He's put himself like at 13. But now the track doesn't have much left in it. I didn't like some aerodynamic profiles, didn't look so good there. 7/10 back, gives us 14th or 15th by the time he's done.
Yeah, right around where we saw Cody Bascu, and in fact 600s behind Cody, so that's a good run. He's ahead of Chris Spring by 200s.
Yeah, he's 100th off the start from Spring. He's 300s behind Cody. He's right in that mix. He's definitely going to make the field. You know, this little younger, the Romanians, I mean, look at the technique they just had at the start. You know, very, very efficient in and out of the sleds. I didn't like what I saw here from, look at the cowling split there. Wow. That was a rough exit. And we can see shoulders back there, so I give them definitely a B-, maybe even a C in that aerodynamic profile. They didn't stop the sled, Martin.
Man, it is tough. I mean, we've seen several sleds crash. Lamindine crashed after the finish last year in training. Nico Walter in training and in the race. It is tough. Next up, Marcus Treichel. There was a late change of brakeman. Marcus Gluckert still at 2, Gregor Glaboniat at 4, but Sebastian Mitra being subbed out for Robert Eschlager, making his 2nd World Cup start. He raced in Samoritz as well. This is his 5th ever bobsled race of any kind, Robert. He's the man at 3. He gets in from the driver's right-hand side. Neat load.
18th best start out of 18 sleds. You know what that'll do to your finish time. Marcus. Parents have a lot to do with the Austrian Federation. 7600s back, but the best speed. That looked weird though, Mark. Those numbers look something wrong there. I don't think those numbers were correct. Telemetry?
Yeah. I think the speed has gone a little squiffy on his transponder.
He's doing it pretty good.
17th place, pulling himself ahead of Baumgartner. So there's
Wolfgang.
one sled behind him.
Roner, Keeper Manis. He's not going to beat Keeper. How does Keeper Manis go all the way to off 22nd?
Well, he hasn't raced this year.
Martin.
He hasn't raced 4-man,
At all,
so
man?
he has no World Cup standings. So he is last.
That's why. That's
yeah.
why. Okay, okay.
And I don't know why. They've had Ralph Berzin, but I don't know why Keeper Manis hasn't, because he's done all the 2-man races. So it's not like he's crook.
And where is Ralph today? He's not on the list either.
He's in Altenburg. He went from Junior Worlds last week directly to Altenburg.
Marcus, you know, I think he's got a chance to be the
Yeah,
guy.
it's 50-50, isn't it, I think?
I think it's going to be about Mr. Roner from Switzerland, the guy in Soup from Korea. He could beat one of those two.
Well, next up, Brad Hall from Great Britain, 29th World Cup start. Taylor Lawrence, Luke Dawes joins the team, flew out this week, finally got on a plane. Greg Cackett on the back. 12th in January's race here. He was 7th yesterday in the 2-man.
Respectable 50-meter sprint, 8th, but the 3rd best velocity. That's a positive. Let's see if he can, no mistakes allowed up here. Just saw Chris Spring come out of curve 6 here with a skid. What does Brad do? Nice. 8th best speed, 4,500s back. This isn't too bad, Martin, considering coming late in the heat.
Yeah, if he can hang on somewhere in the top 10, then there's a chance to move up maybe in the second heat with slightly better ice.
This is where things start to fall away.
Yeah.
Yeah, this looks
Still
like
top 10.
This looks like about 9th.
Yeah, 10th at the line.
100th behind Hofer.
Hafer, 200s behind
Germany.
Dean and Stulnev. So there's a big battle shaping up.
And that's a very good drive for this late in the heat from Brad Hall, who I just said yesterday, he's just improving, and his best part of the season, Martin, was overcoming all the obstacles and the injuries and just keeping the team together, keeping them on ice. Pulled out of last week, one of the 4-man races, right? Last week.
Well, pulled out of both of them. Yeah,
ago.
last week was his first. He was forced to pull out of Samoritz after being forced to pull out of Winterberg because he broke one of his brakemen in each of the 2-man starts.
Well, one of his brakemen also was warming up in the parking lot and tore his Achilles.
Yeah. That was in Samoritz for the 2-man, doing some resistance pulls. And in fact, he's just had a revolutionary surgery up in the northeast of England. So all the best to Sam Blanchett, and look forward to that, hopefully recovering for next season.
Yeah,
20th
Sam.
sled.
Good luck, Sam.
Yeah, 20th sleds, Yunjin Suk. Seonwo Lee at 2, second race for him. A debut for Chang Young Park at 3. And Jong Young Kim at
Size
4,
of the
the
brakeman.
veteran with 15 races. Yeah. The brakeman is enormous,
These are
isn't
some
he?
big boys. Not down, though. They're not down, settled.
Yeah.
Now, this is where you start looking at the bubble. At the moment, on the bubble, well, no, this is the 20th sled down. So Mr. Bumgardner and Mr. Trico are looking at this sled.
18th best start out of 20 so far, and a big skid there out of 6. That's not helping.
I don't think he made the cut yesterday in the 2-man, Martin.
22nd, you're right. I think he might be in. Oh no, he slipped away from 18th. He's behind Baumgartner, he's last.
So that means that Trico, one more.
Trico is definitely in. I think Baumgartner might make it as well. It's either Baumgartner or...
Keeper Manis is going to beat these guys, for sure.
Keeper Manis should.
And Roner, I don't know.
Timo Roner, that's the question mark.
So
well, this is a brand new start crew. The guy at 2, it's his second race. The guy at 3, it's his first 4-man race.
And the brakeman's arms are coming in and out, and wait. You know, he should be waiting. Number 2 still not comfortable, still not in.
Yeah.
Now the arms come up. The brakeman was the first guy down.
And the driver's feeling all this. The sled's rocking behind him, under him, and he's going, what's going on?
The
that might be all we see
in a 4-man start. Yeah.
Might be all we see of Yoon Jin Suk. So, Timo Roner from Switzerland, 4th World Cup start in 4-man. Debutant Neo van Messel, 19 on Monday of this week. Luca Roli, 24 2 weeks ago. This is his 3rd race. And Muran Gyumi, his 4th race. So this is a brand new crew this season for Timo Roner.
You might recognize that name. His father won an Olympic silver medal at the Nagano Winter Olympic Games, multiple World Championship medals. We saw him a couple years, 2 or 3 years ago, we saw him for the first time, Martin, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And his dad is basically runs the track crew in St. Moritz. The guys at 2 and 3 had never sat in a bobsled before January this year. So they've done 3 races in 14 days, and now they're in the World Cup. And he has just slipped out of the race. Yeah. They were 18th at the start, but he's not holding the speed.
Okay. It's okay. Great to see him. Hello to Marcel Roner and his crew up in St. Moritz. People are raving about the track conditions. The World Cup Luge goes there next week
with all this snow.
World Cup Luge is off to there next week. It'll be very interesting to watch those lines.
Definitely. Man, the speed that they get down the bottom. Whoa.
Yes. There's a lot of friction off those runners.
Yeah.
Aerodynamics, well, you can see some yellow there. That's shouldn't be seeing anybody, but of course, young guys, inexperienced crew. They probably didn't fit themselves in this sled in the summer. Look at that skid. Whoa.
Yeah.
Got away with that.
So Timo Roner, 21st place, doesn't make the race. Keeper Manis next up. So it's Keeper Manis or Suk. Oscars Keeper Manis, 55th. Easy for me to say, World Cup race. First this season, Dove Springs, Mats Miknes and Chris Lindblad, all in with Oscars Melbardis up until this stage. Keeper Manis took the silver medal yesterday in 2-man.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a 5:06.
Whoa, look at that.
2.
Yeah.
Okay, now, but the track's cut up, so he's going to be down 10-15 hundredths here probably before the next clock. 19, it's worse. You know, that's where Friedrich just made all of his time with that rocket start that he had. And he's already down a 5th with the second best start, but that's not his fault. That's the conditions of the track. 30 hundredths back now, Mark. But it's his first 4-man race, and good lines there. He's going to continue to fall, but he'll stay in the top 10.
7th place, Lamindine and Alexei Stulnev. He's going to be right around them. He is
7.
right around them. Just ahead of Dean and Stulnev in 7th place.
Martin, I see him moving up 2 spots at least.
Yeah.
If not 3 in that second run. All those guys that went early, watch out. This guy's coming.
Yeah.
And he won a silver medal here last year, Martin, so we know. But look at these. Watch the technique. This, look at the arms coming up together. That is how you start a 4-man bobsled. Right there. Look at that technique.
And the brakeman, John, it's only his 3rd 4-man race, and already he is that well drilled.
And he came out of there. You didn't see the cowling split too much and the air rush in there, so there was a very quiet steerage on the exit of 9. First event of the year.
If he got 10 sleds, 12 sleds earlier, he'd have been in the top 4 or 5. Right now, Francesco Friedrich leads from Benny Meyer and Justin Cripps. That's the order they are in the World Cup rankings as well. Wasn't a perfect start for Friedrich and his team. And the all-time start record is 400ths out of reach. You absolutely know they will be going for that in the second heat. They always go for every record on every trip. And he's happy to admit it. Yes, he wants to win, but they want records too. Benny Meyer, 1700ths back. Justin Cripps. Well, there's going to be a battle for the medals. Don't count out Guy Chukovic. Kiba Manis, is that too far away? Possibly is, but he could move up a couple as well. And behind, lots of close battles, as we always get here in Eagles. At the bottom of the top 20, Dominic Dvorak 18th, Marcus Treichel 19th, Patrick Baumgartner 20th, breathe a sigh of relief. Yunjin Suk doesn't make the cut, nor does Timo Rona. Well, that's it for the first heat. Our final heat of the World Cup season comes up very shortly in just over 35 minutes time. Stay with us, John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew to see who takes the final World Cup medals of the season and the destiny of the Crystal Globes.